All right, welcome in to week 4 of the Coach Mark Schmidt Show, presented as always by Aria Health, your hospital in Lower Bucks County. I'm here with the head coach of the Shining Redskins once again, Mark Schmidt. 3 straight weeks, 3 straight victories. Got to be happy about a lot of things. This week it was kind of an odd week, and I'm going to take credit for that in a bad way, because last week I mentioned to you, do you like going on the road? Do you like going home? And what happens the first road game? You go out Thursday, you're all ready to go, pads are on, haul it back, come back up Friday afternoon. So it was definitely an eventful week 3 road trip.
Rather stressful.
Yes.
But credit the guys. We made a pact before we left to come back home that we were going to come back here and go out and play hard and play well. And we played hard. I don't exactly think we played well. I thought defensively, obviously, we played better than offensively, but we had some timely kicking and some field positions that worked for us, and I was very pleased with our effort. I wasn't very pleased with a lot of our execution.
Right.
Even consistency on defense. We made some big plays, obviously, but even defensively, I think we got to be a little more consistent. But offensively, we really rode a roller coaster.
I'm going to start the show off kind of in an odd way, because you don't start talking about a game from last week with this. But one of your main weapons on Friday afternoon, punter Chris Watson, did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
look, you can say it, field position's key in this game.
Sure.
And he did a fantastic job as a freshman coming in there and
the wind was really blown, and even into the wind and with it. I mean, Chris did a great job with us. And his first kick, he got a little cute with it, and it didn't go very far. But after that, he really settled down, and he's a weapon. I mean, he's a guy that's he's starting goalie for the soccer team that's very successful. But he really takes this job very seriously. Whenever he gets over here for practice, he and Dylan, our kicker, they get over here and they practice late. They come before practice and get their kicks in with our guys and snaps, and then we try to do things pregame. And Thursday they had a game at Ben Salem. They drove through all the weather and all the traffic and came running, and it was kind of cool. They're into it. They really are into it. And then they went back with us on Friday, and both of them. Dylan was 4 for 4 on extra points, and Chris really helped us out, and our coverage team did a nice job.
Speaking of offensively, besides special teams, 28 more points up. DeAndre Power is over 120 again. These are all highlights we've been seeing the last couple of weeks. DeAndre having a good season. Tyler Wambo maybe coming into his own, throwing at Denzel and Hamid Pack. But the pre-snap miscues that we saw week 3 it appear with offsides and legal motions, things like that. I'm sure those are things that you harped on in video and whatnot.
Really, and it's the second week, and it was addressed a lot harsher this week than last, and we had some penalty runs, we had some extras yesterday, and and nobody was complaining about it. I mean, it was just basically you gotta bring your whole self to a football game. We said we're not going to make any excuses or reasons. And Friday at 3:00, nobody there. Well, so what? I mean, you got to play football, and you go out there and you have your mind half in and half out. You're going to come home on crutches, or you're going to come home hurt, or either way, or unsuccessful,
right,
which is the least important, really, if you look at it. So we really got on them about that, and they understood it. And we had a couple young guys make mistakes, but we had some old guys make mistakes too. So, we do everything as a team, and we learn from it, and that's a big goal for us this week versus Tenet.
Speaking of guys been learning to play the game the Chamonix way, and a guy that's been coming up big offensively and defensively for you. Sophomore has not registered a tackle yet, but has 2 interceptions the last 2 weeks. Denzel Hughes, sophomore, big touchdown catch in the third quarter, and an interception in your own end to kind of stall their drive. It's kind of big as a sophomore.
Denzel is a guy that if he doesn't have to say anything, he won't say anything.
Right.
But when he's out there in that huddle, and he's out there as the free safety running the coverages and checking, and he's out there working his tail off, he's into it. And he's just one of those great examples of guys that and on either side of him, there's two veterans, and
Yep.
and they both embrace him, and those guys really take a lot of pride in the ball in the air in that secondary. And if you're catching it, we're gonna let you know about it, and if we have a chance, we're gonna try to get it or knock it down. And I'm seeing a little bit of that when the ball's in the air now, and our linebackers are getting out there and cutting down those open windows and such. So we just hope we can keep building on that. And if the quarterback holds it for a little bit longer, I like our pass rush coming, and we were able to get a couple good sacks and a couple key plays there that really kind of knocked us out of the back a little bit and gave them some long field.
Speaking of defense, and we know the likes of Luke Carazola and Danny Lord and these guys were getting some pub early, but you had to replace all 4 of your linebackers last year, and a guy that stepped up, at least in my eyes, and I just mutilated him in our postgame show. I called him a junior. I said his last name wrong, but Matt Bianchino.
Oh, did his mother tell you that?
I'm sure I will hear it Friday.
I'm sure.
But it is Bianchino, right?
Bianchino.
Doing a nice job for you, filling that middle linebacker, combo Danny Lord.
Yeah, he used to be Joe's little brother.
Yeah.
Now he's Matt.
Yeah.
And, Matt's doing a good job. I mean, he was another guy that was a bigger version of our outside linebacker crew, and plays across. He got a little bigger, got a lot stronger, and we moved he and Denny inside to get some athleticism inside out, and then we got a little faster on the outside with those 2 guys, Troke and Cole, and I think it's paying off. Matt's not afraid to go up in there and put his nose in there and get it going. He's a guy that we've kept on defense, so he's really we kind of put it on him to get it going quick, to learn fast,
right.
And key guy on our special teams because he's running down there and hitting, and couldn't be happier with his start. Hopefully, he just keeps improving.
Pretty historic way your defense is going here. 100. You guys are outscoring opponents 100-0 the first 3 games. I know you don't want to put a lot into it, but I'm sure the guys read it. They know it. They know what's going on. 3 shutouts. They play with a little bit of an edge, it looks like. Luke Carazola appears to be that heartbeat of the defense. The guy gets them going. But what do you say to guys now that they've been very successful?
The biggest thing we've been doing is, Matt, is and we've talked about this all off season and preseason and now, is ownership. And
right.
And Denny, I got to give Denny credit. I got to give Cole credit. Devin Brown. Obviously you see Luke doing his thing. Denny's in there in the middle running things, and Devin he's the leader in that secondary, mm-hmm. And then Cole kind of settles things down. Troken, he's still kind of learning a little bit, but he's 1,000% into it, and you're seeing Matt flourish and getting confidence. So they did not want they didn't want to come out. They did not want they didn't want Saturn to score, and they were into it, and they were fired up, and that play that we had the botch snap, and the kids taking off, and DeAndre. I mean, our sideline, you thought our guys were scoring a touchdown. They were cheering for DeAndre to tackle the guy, and then and then they had we had 2 penalties that kept two possessions alive for them, and Denzel makes the play in the end zone because we did a great job rerouting that receiver down the field, and Denzel steps in and makes the play. So. And I think they take pride in that kind of stuff, and that's good. I mean, that's telling us we need to get out of the way and let those guys do it because, that's what football's all about.
More football this Friday at Heartbreak Ridge here on WBCB1490.com. We just talked about the Saturn win last Friday afternoon, 28-0. We're going to come back and talk about the William Tennant Panthers, who are coming in this Friday on a short week, so under new coach. And a lot of new guys, so we look forward to that game. We'll talk more about it right after this here on the Coach and Mark Schmidt Show, presented as always by Aria Health.
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
All right, welcome back to the Coach Mark Schmidt Show, presented by Aria Health, your hospital in Lower Bucks County. We just got done wrapping up the Week 3 win over Saturn, 28-0. You guys come back home now. Short week for you last week. Now William Tennant, due to the weather on Thursday, played last night. They fought Upper Moreland, and now they have a short week preparing on Friday for you. But William Tennant, we talked about Saturday being a pride game. This is another one. You guys went to Claude Lodge last year and lost in heartbreaking fashion. I know you took that loss very personally, just like you do every other one. And it's another revenge factor in a sense game. Or pride, I should say, game.
I think that's a good, better word, man. Hey, that night we had opportunities we didn't take advantage of, and Tennant did. They drove the length of the field after we went ahead to go ahead there, and converted 2 fourth downs and made a play with 3 seconds. And credit, Coach Keeney and his staff and those players for fighting, 48-minute football game. And we allowed those guys to go out there and take a game away from us. And that was not a very long ride home distance-wise, but It was extremely long, for us. And it was a soul-searching time, and it really kind of created us to reevaluate and look, and a couple of guys on our team to decide if they're going to be a part of the team or part ways. Some did, some didn't. And we reestablished ourselves and moved on. And we don't want that to happen again.
Right.
And we understand it and we get it. And they're an excitable football team, new staff. They've got a different style offense that they're trying to run. They've got a bunch of guys that they get the ball to. They've got a big playmaker there as their tight end, defensive end type player. They've got a couple big guys up front that do a nice job, and we've got to come ready to go. And we made that statement on Friday after the game that we've got to really get ourselves in gear. And we were happy with the win, but I was very quick to express myself as far as we don't need fortune. We need to go out and do it.
Sure.
And we weren't fortunate against Souderton, but we need to make this thing a little cleaner, because down the road, now that league play started, the intensity level is going to improve. And we don't play Tennant anymore after this. They move out of our conference, and so we need to be ready for them, and because they're real excited about their first win. They're going to come in here, feeling pretty good. We got to make sure we're ready.
You mentioned conference play starts, and you mentioned intensity may change. Do you see that now as the guys are leading towards, guys they may know from CYO leagues and teams they're familiar with, whether it's Truman, Council Rock, Tennant? Do you see it kind of, and the weather's changing as well, kind of apropos. Do you see it kind of different intensity in the guys, knowing they're going to face familiar faces in a sense?
I don't know about that, Matt, but I do know that these guys, I think they care about who they're playing. It's a crazy week, the weather and everything, and some teams got pushed back. We had Rock and we had Tennant. Tennant was right after we lifted and ran and met with the guys and kind of, cut them loose after that, and they stuck around. We wanted them to kind of, it's our first home JV game, and we wanted them to kind of, be a part of the team there, and they all did. And then a bunch of coaches went to Council Rock that were coaching the JV game, and we all went to a bunch of guys of us went to Tennant to scout those guys. And the word was there was a whole bunch of our guys up in the stands with our coaches watching the first half of that game, and they care. I mean, and that's a cool thing. And they're texting us back and forth, the start of it, and they want to know how that game's going, and that's a cool thing. It's not like they're showing up today. Oh, by the way, who won?
Right.
And so that's cool, and they know guys. It's Bucks County, and then we've got two sports guys, basketball or baseball, and 1 or 2 wrestlers, so they know each other, and it's a close knit environment, and we. They know more than I know.
Right.
So
Fortunately,
I get into it week by week. I don't look ahead too much, and I just kind of look at numbers and players. And I do know 1 or 2 of these guys from last year, because they really, the big tight end, that kid, he hurt us last year a lot, and he made some really big plays. And we need to take a look at him. And they've got a couple other playmakers out there in that backfield.
Sticking on the defensive side of the ball this week. You've done a good job last couple of years. Kaiser Terry, Shane Quinn, your DNs have been very distinct ability to get to the quarterback, and Luke Carrizzola is the mainstay this year. But the guy stepped up last week and did at times last year on the weak side, complimenting him, Dorian Arthur.
Yeah.
2 sacks last week. Had some mental miscues a couple times, but seems to be coming in his own now as the weeks progress.
Yeah, Dorian's a puppy, and you know, he about this time last year he had a very, very severe concussion, and he was just kind of starting to figure it out a little bit,
Right.
and you know, not near like he is now, but when we just totally shut it down because there was, I'm going to come back, coach, and this and that, and you know, we just allowed him to just kind of settle down,
Right.
you know, get everything squared away. You know, his parents understood that, and they were in agreement, and we, you know, the whole thing physically and obviously, you know, mentally,
Sure.
neurologically, and everything, and got the clearances and everything, and he just kind of got in the weight room and ran track and really just kind of started to blossom. And he was a guy that we had on the shelf as a wild card, and you know, and we figured, well, if we can get something out of this good-looking rascal,
Right.
we're going to be better. And you know, we had Blake Sullivan on Ready 5 and a couple other guys that, you know, at the end, but Dorian is just really kind of starting to get into his own. We only put him on defense because, you know, we didn't want to overcook him with too much football, and he's responded.
Yeah.
And you know, he's one of those guys though that consistently has to, you know, play after play, and you know, he doesn't take plays off. He just kind of mentally just gets a little bit too cautious at times, and shoot, guy like that can play, and with that ability, we want to turn him loose as much as we can, and he certainly, you see some of the good, and then the next play you see him like, what the heck are you doing? And he sees it, and he shakes his head, you know, in our film sessions. So you know, he's getting it, we're getting it, and hope, you know, it's kind of coming. But geez, I mean, you know, it's hard to run away from that rascal. He can go.
It's gotta feel good too, because you've mentioned a couple weeks now is that, you know, guys almost respond to errors like they know, you know, in a sense they're almost too cautious, but they know what they're doing in a sense. Like, coach, I got it, but they want to hear it from you. That's gotta feel good. You mentioned they just understand the game more.
Well, you know, I'll let people in on this because I think this tells you the kind of guys that we have, that I'm fortunate enough to have, you know, coach with me.
Right.
And you know, our defensive guys have always been great. You know, and Steve with the O-line, and now we've got Biz and Jamar Keith and Jim Long, and you know, and Ray Jones. We just got guys that care. But defensively, 2 weeks ago, you know, our defensive coaches handed out grade sheets to our kids. And they graded them before, and then they handed them a pen, and they said, "All right, grade yourself."
Wow.
And we went back, and it was after a 39-0 shutout, and we found out that they get it now because they're looking, they're not watching the play and then hearing it from a coach. They're looking at it and they're saying, well, was that good enough? Was that not good enough? And they started to really look at it. And you know what? I mean, it was a great way to kind of just allow some. I don't want anybody to copy us, but you know, probably it'd be crazy if they don't, because you know, it talks about that ownership. And you know, they went back and they handed in their grades, and our coaches looked at it, and they were harder on themselves sometimes than the coaches were.
Wow.
And that really made us feel good about the type of guys we have, and now they get it. And you know, again, you know, last week it was the same deal, and you know, there's a lot of positives out there, a lot of big plays, but then there's some plays that we got to get better, and so they're not, pardon my language, bitching or moping about, you know, getting corrected. They're now realizing, look, I know I can do better than that.
Good.
You know, and you know, that's part of the game.
Sure.
You know, that's why football's so awesome.
Football's going to get more awesome here on Friday night at Heartbreak Ridge, Harry Franks Memorial Stadium, 6:45 pregame on WBCB1490.com. After it plays on WBCB, stay tuned. It'll be on 1490 WBCB around 9 o'clock, so you'll get 2 times to listen to your Shining Redskins take on William Tennant this Friday in their first conference game of the season. Now we end every show, like we have others in the past, doing some picks, and you, my friend, are batting .500 so far, which is
Yeah.
good in baseball, but not good in picks.
Shoot, I sure
Because you're
hope
picking two.
No.
And you're going 1 for 1 every
I'm
week.
breaking even.
You went Bama last week. You went Niners. One obviously was,
Yeah.
well, it kept you on your toes at least on Saturday, and one was just a blowout on
They had a
Sunday.
weather issue too, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Gosh.
Everywhere we go, there's weather issues. So.
It's crazy fall.
Well, this week I'm hoping it's gonna be a little easier for you. I think at least we're gonna go Eagles in Kansas City on Thursday, which
That's easy.
the next one. I think will be
Holy
easier,
cow.
possibly. I'm not sure. Andy Reid coming back to the link. Who you got?
I tell you what, after that game should have been over earlier.
Yeah.
Had those 2 turnovers not happened. So and Kansas City's got some good players,
Sure.
and I think the Chiefs are probably going to win that game.
Okay. The Chiefs on Thursday night. You like them? Alex Smith, you're a fan?
I don't really know him very well.
Right.
I remember he
Me
played
neither.
last year, and he did a great job. And then, unfortunately, his injury.
Yeah.
And to have a backup like Kaepernick,
Sure.
it's hard to it's hard to sleep at night.
Well, you just went right into my next game. Kaepernick and the Niners take on Andrew Luck and the Colts.
Wow.
Kind of his what do you call it? The tutor versus the coach versus the player, whoever it is. Harbaugh's offense kind of in Andrew Luck. Maybe he's
okay.
scheming on defense for him. Who knows?
Okay.
Who you going with, Andrew Luck
Is
or
it at San Francisco?
It is in San Francisco, I believe. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take them.
You take the Niners again.
I don't think they're going to allow. They got thumped pretty good. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty proud group of guys.
Yes,
there.
it is.
And I think Andrew's going to have a hard day. I mean that crew's that's a tough bunch.
Yeah. So we'll see Niners and Chiefs here this week. Coach Mark Schmidt is batting 1,000.
Not that I'm against the Eagles.
That's okay.
Whew.
You know what? This is pick'ems,
I'll
right?
tell you, I thought that quarterback,
Phillip.
I thought
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers did a super job.
Unreal.
Slowing the game down for him and just methodically getting it going. And he had his pick of guys. It
Yeah.
was, so the Eagles got to play tougher.
We'll see. A team that's always going to play tough is playing this Friday night at Heartbreak Ridge at Harry E. Franks Memorial Stadium, 7 o'clock kickoff. Come on out and support your Redskins. For Matt Miro from WBCB, Coach Mark Schmidt from the Chamonix Redskins, and Aria Health, our main sponsor every week, signing off saying take care, and we'll see you next week.